There's an old saying on my home world: never judge a carbon-based life form by its nuclear capabilities. We should have remembered that before the diplomatic incident of 2157, my name is ZYX-427. Though my human friends call me Zach because their underdeveloped vocal cords struggle with the proper resonance of my actual name. I serve as the senior cultural analyst for the Galactic Confederation's Department of Emerging Species Management. My job? Evaluating primitive species for potential membership in our vast, mostly peaceful interstellar community. Humans were never supposed to be my assignment. The standard protocol dictates at least another 3 centuries of observation before first contact. But protocols change when a species accidentally intercepts your supposedly encrypted communications. Let me tell you the real story of how humans forced their way into galactic society, and how a ragtag group of Earthlings saved not just their own species, but quite possibly the entire Confederation. The mistake that changed everything. Ambassador Zyx, please report to the High Council chambers immediately. The voice of my assistant, Blurple, echoed through my cranial implant, interrupting a rather pleasant dream about quantum surfing. What time is it? I groaned, my 7 eye stalks slowly extending from their sleep pouches. It's mid-rotation, and the council used the emergency override. They seem agitated. I've been an ambassador for 97 cycles. Agitated, council members were never good news. The central council chamber was imposing by design. A massive spherical room where the 12 eldest members of the Confederation floated in anti-gravity suspension. Their wizened faces and multiple appendages twitched with unusual anxiety as I entered. Grand Counselor Vrex, 9, the oldest living Quilxian in the known galaxy, spoke first. Ambassador, we have a situation with Solar System XJ-2457. The primitive bipeds have, she paused dramatically, her breathing sacs inflating with stress, intercepted our surveillance transmissions. I blinked all 14 of my eyelids sequentially, a sign of extreme surprise in my species. Impossible. The encryption algorithms are beyond their technological capacity by at least 500 years. Apparently not, said Counselor Druum, his metallic exoskeleton vibrating with irritation. He gestured to the central hologram where a message appeared, unmistakably in crude human English. To whoever is listening. We hear you. We know you are out there. Let's talk. Since humans. How? I asked, my pigmentation shifting to a concerned mauve. They got lucky, explained Science Minister Oop. They weren't trying to hack our communications. They were testing a new type of quantum computer and accidentally created a resonance field that decoded a small portion of our standard surveillance package. Just enough to confirm they are not alone. The room fell silent. So what do we do? I finally asked. Grand Counselor Vrex, 9 sighed, a sound like wind through ancient crystal. The regulations are clear. Once a species discovers the Confederation, we must initiate contact. Prepare your team, Ambassador. You leave for Earth in 1 rotation, but they are nowhere near ready. I protested. Their political systems are chaotic, their planet is overheating, and they still think cat videos are the pinnacle of entertainment. Nevertheless, Vrex, 9 continued, we must follow protocol. But I remind you, this is strictly observation and preliminary assessment. Under no circumstances are humans to be considered for membership. They are simply too young. With all due respect, I countered, the regulations state that any species advanced enough to detect us must be given fair consideration for. The regulations also give the Council discretionary authority, interrupted Counselor Druum. We have reviewed their broadcasts. These creatures spent the last century developing thousands of ways to destroy themselves and their habitat. Just last solar cycle, their dominant entertainment was watching people eat laundry cleaning products. They are not ready. I couldn't argue with that logic. Your mission is to politely acknowledge their discovery, explain that they need more time to develop, and leave them to their own devices for another few centuries, Vrex, 9 concluded. Is that clear, Ambassador? It was clear. It was reasonable. It was protocol that IT was also completely wrong, as I would soon discover. Our diplomatic vessel, the Celestial Formality, entered Earth's atmosphere on what humans called Tuesday. I have never understood why they name time segments. Time is time. Naming the days feels like naming individual oxygen molecules. That MY team consisted of 5 specialists. Myself, Blurple, my administrative assistant whose species resembles what humans might call a sentient cotton candy. Dr. Gloop, our xenobiologist who exists as a collection of intelligent plasma contained in a floating sphere. Security Officer Krill, a warrior from a militant Vraxian empire whose exoskeleton can withstand nuclear blasts. And Communications Specialist Whistle, whose species communicates through musical tones and who had painfully learned human languages by watching their reality television broadcasts. Poor Whistle had developed an unfortunate tendency to say literally and amazing with unnecessary frequency that we landed at the coordinates specified in the human reply, a remote desert location they called Nevada. A small welcoming committee awaited us. 3 military vehicles, 2 black diplomatic sedans, and 15 humans in various uniforms looking simultaneously terrified and awestruck. Remember, I instructed my team as our ship's ramp descended. We are here to let them down gently. Be polite, be respectful, but be firm. They are not ready for Confederation membership. As we emerged from our ship, the humans' reactions varied from open-mouthed shock to one individual who appeared to be recording us on a primitive communication device they called a smartphone. A human female stepped forward, her posture rigidly formal despite her obvious nervousness. On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you. I am Dr. Jessica Palmer, Director of the International Space Cooperation Initiative. I extended 3 of my 7 upper appendages in greeting. I am Ambassador Zyx-427 of the Galactic Confederation. We received your transmission and have come to formally acknowledge your discovery of our existence. Dr. Palmer smiled, revealing the bizarre white calcium deposits humans use for food processing. This is a historic moment for humanity. We have so many questions. I understand. I replied diplomatically, but I must inform you that official Confederation protocol classifies Earth as a development stage 3 planet. While we recognize your achievement in detecting our communications, your species requires approximately 300 more years of social and technological advancement before formal relations can be established. The human's face performed a fascinating transformation from excitement to confusion to something they call disappointment. You are saying we are not advanced enough? Asked another human, a male with facial hair around his mouth, but nowhere else, which seemed evolutionarily questionable. It's not personal, I assured them. Your species is simply too young. Your global political structures are fragmented, your technology is rudimentary, and your philosophical frameworks are, well, let's just say the council was particularly concerned about something called TikTok challenges. Literally, so judgmental. Whistle commented unhelpfully to Dr. Palmer's expression hardened. With all due respect, Ambassador, we may be younger than your civilization, but we have achieved remarkable progress in short time. We have gone from horse-drawn carriages to quantum computing in less than 2 centuries. And from quantum computing to eating laundry detergent for entertainment, I countered. The Confederation has observed your species for millennia. Your potential is tremendous, but your maturity is lacking. A different human, wearing a military uniform adorned with small metallic symbols, stepped forward. I'm General Thomas Blackwood, United States Space Force. Ambassador, we didn't just stumble upon your transmission by accident. This was unexpected. Explain, I demanded. General Blackwood gestured to a younger human who stepped forward carrying a device. This is Dr. Alex Novak, quantum physicist. He has something you need to see. Dr. Novak, who appeared to be what humans call nervous as hell, activated his device. A holographic display appeared, primitive by our standards, but impressive for Earth technology. It showed what appeared to be a star map with a pulsing red area. 3 months ago, we detected an anomaly in the quantum field surrounding this sector, Dr. Novak explained. At first, we thought it was a natural phenomenon, but the pattern was too regular. When we managed to partially decode it, we realized it wasn't your regular surveillance. It was a warning. My pigmentation involuntarily shifted to alarmed orange. What kind of warning? Dr. Palmer interjected. We believe someone, or something, is planning an attack on this sector of the galaxy, including Earth. I exchanged glances with my team. This was not in our mission briefing. How could you possibly know that? Dr. Gloop asked, his plasma form swirling with suspicion. Doctor. Novak tapped his device again. The hologram changed to show a series of mathematical equations and what appeared to be a countdown sequence. Because we have translated enough to recognize a military deployment schedule, General Blackwood stated flatly. And according to our calculations, whatever's coming arrives in less than 30 Earth days. The desert wind suddenly felt cold against my exoskeleton. We may be young, Dr. Palmer said quietly, but we are facing the same threat as you. And we are asking for your help. This was definitely not how I expected the conversation to go. Absolutely not. Grand Counselor Vrex 9's holographic projection vibrated with anger. This is preposterous. Humans are manipulating you, Ambassador. I was back aboard the Celestial Formality, reporting to the Council about the humans' claims. It wasn't going well. With respect, Counselor, I have had our systems analyze their data, I replied. The quantum anomaly they detected is real, and their interpretation, while primitive, follows a logical pattern consistent with a military encryption. Science Minister Oop's tentacles waved dismissively. Even if the anomaly exists, there's no reason to believe it's hostile. The Confederation has maintained peace for 50,000 cycles. We have no enemies. No known enemies, corrected Security Officer Krill, who had insisted on joining the transmission. The galaxy is vast. We have only explored approximately 17% of it. This is precisely why humans aren't ready for membership, Counselor Druum interrupted. They have been aware of extraterrestrial life for less than a solar cycle, and they're already imagining galactic wars. Their entertainment broadcasts are full of such fantasies. Dr. Palmer had been granted permission to join our transmission. I admired her composure as she addressed the council. Counselors, we understand your skepticism, but consider this. Precisely because we are not part of your confederation, we notice something your systems might filter out as background noise. Our quantum computers work differently than yours. They had to, because we developed them independently. The council members exchanged troubled glances. Ambassador Vrex 9 finally said, return to the Confederation immediately. Bring these humans' data for proper analysis. If, and I stress if, there is any validity to their concerns, we will handle it appropriately. And if we are right, Dr. Palmer asked, Earth has no defenses against an advanced alien threat. Will you protect us? The silence that followed was answer enough. After the transmission ended, I turned to Dr. Palmer. I apologize for the council's response. They are set in their ways. They don't believe us, she stated flatly. They believe the data requires further analysis. I offered diplomatically. General Blackwood, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. They're not going to help us, are they? Before I could formulate a suitably vague response, alarms blared throughout our ship. Blurple rushed into the communication chamber, their cottony form vibrating with distress. Ambassador, we are receiving an emergency broadcast from Outpost Station GX-12. They are under attack. The holographic display activated automatically, showing chaos. GX-12 was one of our most remote monitoring stations, staffed by just 20 Confederation scientists. The transmission showed creatures I had never seen before, tall, insectoid beings with advanced weaponry, moving methodically through the station as alarms wailed. This is Senior Researcher Kix 7, gasped a wounded Plorvian scientist. Unknown hostiles have breached all security. They are accessing our central database. They are downloading the Confederation defense grid coordinates. The transmission cut to static. The room fell silent. GX-12 was only 3 light years from Earth. General Blackwood broke the silence. I believe this changes the situation, Ambassador. Indeed it did. The Council has declared Emergency Protocol 7. I informed the assembled humans and my team. All non-essential Confederation operations are suspended. All member worlds are implementing defensive measures. We had gathered in what humans called a conference room at their secret facility. After witnessing the attack on GX-12, I had made an executive decision to cooperate with the humans, a decision the Council reluctantly approved once they confirmed the threat was real. What about Earth? Dr. Palmer asked. We are not a member world. I hesitated. The Council has authorized minimal defensive support. 1 squadron of interceptors will be dispatched to 1 squadron. General Blackwood interrupted incredulously. Against what we just saw here, through your outpost. It's all that can be spared, I explained. The Confederation hasn't faced a military threat in thousands of cycles. Our defensive resources are limited. Limited, Dr. Novak repeated. But you are an advanced galactic civilization. Dr. Gloop's containment sphere pulsed with embarrassment. Our civilization turned away from military development millennia ago. We maintained a small defensive force, mainly for show. We never expected to use it. So the most advanced civilization in the galaxy can't defend itself, General Blackwood summarized flatly. Perfect. The Council is implementing the Shroud Protocol, I continued. Confederation worlds will be hidden behind quantum camouflage fields. Unfortunately, Earth lacks the necessary technology for inclusion. The humans exchanged grim looks. So we are on our own, Dr. Palmer concluded. Not entirely, I said. I have been authorized to provide technical assistance and information. But physical resources are restricted. Translation: they're saving their own skins, muttered a human scientist that I couldn't entirely disagree. Then we need to work with what we have, Dr. Palmer said decisively. Dr. Novak, assemble your quantum team. General, mobilize whatever space-capable forces we have. Ambassador Zyx, we need everything you can tell us about these hostiles and any defensive technology you can share. What followed was the most remarkable display of adaptability I have ever witnessed. Humans, as it turns out, excel under pressure. While my species carefully deliberates and the Council debates protocols, humans simply act. Within 3 Earth days, Dr. Novak's team had reverse-engineered elements of our communication technology to create a rudimentary early warning system. General Blackwood had coordinated Earth's fragmented military forces into a unified defense strategy. And Dr. Palmer had somehow convinced Earth's quarrelsome nations to temporarily set aside their differences. It won't be enough, Security Officer Krill observed as we watched humans frantically preparing. Their technology is too primitive. Their weapons are practically ceremonial compared to what we witnessed at GX-12. Perhaps, I acknowledged, but they have something the Confederation lost long ago. What's that? I gestured to where Dr. Palmer was simultaneously coordinating with multiple global leaders, her face determined despite not having slept in 50 hours. Survival instinct. The early warning system activated precisely 27 Earth days after our arrival. The hostile fleet, now identified as the Vex Dominion, an expansionist empire from the unexplored Andromeda Galaxy, had entered our solar system. The Council's promised squadron of interceptors never arrived. We later learned they had been diverted to protect a Confederation resource depot. Earth truly was on its own, except for us. My team and I had made a decision that violated every Confederation protocol. We would stand with the humans, the battle for Earth. They are approaching Mars orbit, Dr. Novak announced, his eyes fixed on the quantum detection grid. The facility's command center was filled with Earth's military and scientific leaders, all watching as 27 Vex Dominion warships advanced toward their planet. All planetary defense systems online, reported General Blackwood. Such as they are, Earth's defenses consisted of hastily modified satellites, a handful of nuclear missiles repurposed with guidance systems based on Confederation technology, and 3 experimental spacecraft armed with prototype weapons. Against a fleet that had easily overwhelmed the Confederation outpost, it was like facing a supernova with a water pistol. Ambassador, Dr. Palmer said quietly, pulling me aside. If this goes badly, is there any possibility of evacuating at least some of our people? The question caught me off guard. In all our preparations, no human had asked about escape. The celestial formality could transport perhaps 200 individuals, I replied. But that's enough for our best scientists and a genetic diversity sample, she nodded. If Earth falls, at least something of humanity might survive. I stared at her. You have been planning for this possibility all along. Of course, she replied simply. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Survival 101. Before I could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. They are accelerating, Dr. Novak shouted. Bypassing Mars completely. The main screen showed the Vex fleet suddenly increasing speed, their massive ships cutting through space toward Earth. All defense systems prepare to engage, ordered General Blackwood. But then something unexpected happened. The lead Vex vessel abruptly changed course, away from Earth. They are turning, Dr. Novak said incredulously on the screen. We watched as the entire Vex fleet altered trajectory, accelerating toward a different target. They are heading for Neptune, a technician announced. Neptune, where the Confederation maintained its largest cloaked observation post in the solar system. An observation post that, according to all our data, should have been undetectable. They knew it was there all along, I realized aloud. Earth wasn't their primary target. The Confederation post has been compromised, Officer Krill stated flatly. The Vex now have access to the locations of all Confederation worlds, including those hidden by the Shroud Protocol. The implications were staggering. The Vex had manipulated us all, letting us detect their approach, watching our panic preparations, while their true objective was the Confederation all along. We need to warn the Council, I said. Communications are being jammed, Whistle reported, the musical notes of their speech strained with effort. The Vex are blocking all quantum frequencies. Can we use conventional radio? Dr. Palmer asked. Too slow, I replied. By the time the message reached the nearest Confederation relay, it would be too late. General Blackwood studied the tactical display. So the Vex tricked the Confederation into hiding, then found a way to locate them anyway. Now they're going after your people, and no one knows it's coming. Correct, I admitted. The general exchanged glances with Dr. Palmer. Then there's only one option. We need to stop them here. With what? Officer Krill demanded. Your primitive weapons are useless against their shields. Dr. Novak cleared his throat. Actually, maybe not. All eyes turned to the young physicist. The quantum detection grid we built works differently than Confederation technology, he explained. We noticed something when the Vex ships change course. Their shield frequency shifts during major navigational adjustments, creates a momentary vulnerability. For how long? General Blackwood demanded. About 2.7 seconds, Dr. Novak replied. Not long enough for conventional weapons to lock on and fire. But, I prompted, sensing there was more. Doctor. Novak glanced at Dr. Palmer, who nodded her approval. But we have been working on something else. A modified version of the quantum field generator that detected your communications in the first place. Theoretically, it could disrupt their shield for longer, maybe 20 seconds. Theoretically, Officer Krill repeated skeptically. We haven't exactly had time to test it, Dr. Novak admitted. What's the catch? I asked, recognizing the hesitation in his voice. Doctor. Palmer answered. It has to be delivered directly to the Vex command ship. The generator needs to be within 1 kilometer to work. A suicide mission, General Blackwood stated flatly. Not necessarily, Dr. Novak countered. We have modified one of our experimental spacecraft. A small crew could approach under the guise of a diplomatic vessel, deploy the device, and hopefully escape before the Vex realize what's happening. Once their shields are down, what's the plan? I asked. We hit them with everything we have got, General Blackwood replied. It won't destroy their fleet, but it might convince them that Earth is too costly a target. It was desperate. It was reckless. It was exactly the kind of plan the Council would debate for cycles without ever implementing. The IT was brilliantly human. I will pilot the mission, I heard myself say. The room fell silent. Ambassador, Dr. Palmer asked, clearly surprised. My ship's transponder codes will get us closer than any Earth vessel, I explained. And I know Confederation protocols that might buy us additional time. Us? Officer Krill questioned. The celestial formality requires a minimum crew of 3, I explained. I will need volunteers. I'm in, Dr. Novak said immediately. Someone needs to operate the quantum device. You will need security, Officer Krill added with characteristic Vraxian pragmatism. General Blackwood studied me closely. You understand this violates your non-intervention protocols? The Council could exile you. If we fail, there won't be a Council left to exile anyone, I replied. And so it was decided. While Earth's defenses mobilized as a distraction, we would strike at the heart of the Vex fleet. The celestial formality approached the Vex command vessel under diplomatic protocols, transmitting standard Confederation identification codes. Dr. Novak sat at what humans would call the co-pilot position, monitoring the quantum device. Officer Krill stood ready at the weapons station, though we hoped combat wouldn't be necessary. They are acknowledging our approach, Whistle reported from the communication station back at Earth's command center. But they are asking for verification codes. Transmitting secondary diplomatic clearance. I responded, sending codes that should buy us another few minutes. The massive Vex command ship loomed ahead, a nightmarish construction of black metal and green energy conduits. As we drew closer, I could see it was already processing data from the Neptune outpost, vulnerable during the transfer. "We are within 2 kilometers, Dr. Novak reported. "Quantum device ready. They are scanning us," Whistle warned. "Verification failed. They know evasive maneuvers," I ordered, banking the ship sharply as the first Vex energy weapons fired toward us. "We need to get closer," Dr. Novak shouted over the ship's alarms. Officer Krill braced against the weapons console. "We won't survive another direct hit." The ship shuddered as a glancing blast struck our port side. Systems flickered and warning lights flashed across the control panel that I made a decision. "Initiating emergency protocol, Zeta 9. "What does that do?" Dr. Novak asked. "It's going to look like our core is destabilizing," I explained, programming the sequence. "Standard procedure is to allow a damaged diplomatic vessel safe distance before detonation." "Will they fall for that?" Officer Krill asked skeptically. "It's not a trick they'd expect," I replied. "The Confederation never sacrifices its personnel." The gambit worked momentarily. The Vex weapons paused as our ship drifted closer, venting harmless but impressive-looking plasma. "0.8 kilometers, Dr. Novak reported. 0.7, 0.6, they're scanning again," Officer Krill warned. "They're not falling for it much longer." 0.5 kilometers, Dr. Novak announced. "We are in range. Activating quantum device now." The device hummed to life, emitting a field of energy invisible to the naked eye, but devastating to the precisely calibrated Vex shields. "It's working," Dr. Novak exclaimed. "Their shield frequency is destabilizing." Back on Earth, General Blackwood gave the order. "All units, fire." Earth's hastily assembled defenses launched everything they had: nuclear missiles guided by Confederation technology, experimental energy weapons, and even conventional explosives. Alone, none would have scratched the Vex ships. But with their shields disrupted by our quantum device, the barrage found vulnerable targets. The command ship shuddered as the first impact struck. Secondary explosions cascaded along its hull as systems overloaded. "We have done enough damage to disrupt their data transfer," Dr. Novak shouted over the rumble of our own damaged ship. "The Confederation locations are safe." "Time to leave," I announced, engaging our emergency thrusters, but the celestial formality wouldn't respond. "The helm is unresponsive," I reported, fighting the controls. "The last hit must have damaged the navigation system." Officer Krill performed a rapid system check. "Thrusters at 20%. We can move, but not fast enough to escape the blast radius if that command ship goes critical." Dr. Novak looked at us both, a strange calm settling over his features. "We have completed the mission. The Confederation will be warned. Earth is saved. That is unacceptable," Officer Krill stated firmly. "Report to the escape pod. Both of you." "The pod only fits 2, I pointed out. "I am aware," the Vraxian warrior replied. "My species evolved to survive extreme conditions. I will remain and manually pilot the ship clear after your departure." "Krill, the damage is too severe," I argued. "You won't. It is decided, Ambassador," Krill interrupted. "This is the logical solution." As if to punctuate the point, another explosion rocked the Vex command ship. Our time was running out. "Go," Krill insisted. "Tell the Council that humans aren't too young for space. They just needed the right motivation." The escape pod ejected moments before the Vex command ship's primary power core went critical. The resulting explosion engulfed both the command ship and the celestial formality. Officer Krill's sacrifice had given us the few seconds needed to reach safe distance. As our pod drifted toward Earth, I watched the remaining Vex ships frantically reorganize, then retreat from the system. Without their command ship and the stolen data, their mission had failed. "They are leaving," Dr. Novak observed quietly. "Yes," I agreed, and quite confused, I imagine. They expected an easy conquest of a primitive world and an oblivious confederation. They found neither. The Grand Council chamber felt different as I entered, smaller somehow, less imposing. Perhaps I had changed. Ambassador Zyx-427 Grand Counselor Vrex, 9 acknowledged. We have reviewed your report on the Earth incident. And I prompted, my usual diplomatic patience exhausted. Your actions violated numerous protocols. Counselor Druum noted severely. Sharing Confederation technology, involving yourself in a military conflict, sacrificing a Confederation vessel, saving the Confederation from certain destruction. I added, an uncomfortable silence followed. Be that as it may, Vrex, 9 continued. Protocols exist for a reason. The Council has deliberated at length about appropriate measures. If I may interrupt, a new voice announced. Dr. Jessica Palmer strode into the chamber, accompanied by General Blackwood and Dr. Novak. This is highly irregular, Counselor Druum protested. Humans are not permitted in Council proceedings. Actually, Dr. Palmer replied calmly. According to Confederation Charter, Section 7, Paragraph 12, any species that has provided significant military assistance to the Confederation may send observers to Council sessions relevant to their contribution. I suppressed what humans would call a smile. They'd been studying. Furthermore, General Blackwood added, Earth formally requests Confederation membership, as is our right under Section 3, having demonstrated both technological capability and diplomatic maturity. The Council erupted in protests. Order, demanded Vrex 9. This is unprecedented. So was the Vex attack, Dr. Palmer countered. Times change, Counselor. The Confederation needs to change with them. Science Minister Oops' tentacles waved thoughtfully. The humans did save us from a threat we never saw coming. Perhaps there is wisdom in different perspectives. They are still too young. Counselor Druum insisted a doctor. Novak stepped forward. With respect, Counselor, age isn't everything. Earth managed to develop a quantum disruptor your scientists hadn't conceived of. We mobilized a planetary defense in days while your council was still debating protocols. We may be young, Dr. Palmer added, but sometimes youth has advantages. Adaptability, innovation, courage. The council chambers fell silent as the counselors communicated telepathically among themselves, a process that typically took hours. To everyone's surprise, they reached consensus in minutes. The Council recognizes Earth's contribution, Vrex, 9 announced. Provisional membership is granted, with a probationary period of 50 Earth years. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. As we left the chamber, Dr. Palmer turned to me. So, Ambassador, what happens now? Now, I replied, my pigmentation shifting to a satisfied blue. We proved them wrong all over again. After all, humans may be young, but the Confederation suddenly seems very, very old. Sometimes the universe needs a little youth to shake things up.